Hello YouTube, Herman Williams with ATM Financial Services. Here again with another Money Smarts lesson to help you take control of your personal finance. Now today we're going to talk about what I call debt freedom, or eliminating your debt. The reality is that debt or credit can actually be a good thing. When used properly, it can provide you with options for making everyday purchases, or it can give you the ability to put a roof over your head. But when it starts to limit your ability to do other things such as saving or investing, or when your debt spending starts to get out of control, then it is time to plan for how to get out of debt, or at least reduce the amount of debt load that you have. Another reason to plan for debt freedom could be that you are nearing retirement and you want or need your post-retirement expenses to be as low as possible. Yet another reason for eliminating debt could be that you are planning to make a large purchase, such as a home or a car, and your debt-to-income ratio may be too high to qualify for the new loan. Eliminating debt will also increase your credit score and therefore qualify you for a better rate, which could save you thousands of dollars on a large purchase. Now, in the case of retirement planning, it is usually a good idea to eliminate as much debt as possible because you will likely be on a fixed income. Now, there are exceptions to this rule, but generally speaking, the lower your debt going into retirement, the better. Now, there are two pretty common approaches to eliminating debt, and I will cover them both, and I will also talk about a third option, which is sort of a modification of the second option. The first approach is commonly referred to as the snowball method. And with this method of debt elimination, you list all of your debts starting with the highest balance and ending up with the lowest balance. Then you free up as much cash as possible in your monthly budget and add it to the amount you are currently paying on the debt with the smallest balance. You continue to make your regular payments on the other debts until the lowest balance debt is paid off completely. Once that debt is paid, you move that entire amount, including the extra cash, up to the next lowest debt. And you continue this process until all of your debt is paid. Now, this method will get all of your debt paid off sooner than normal, but it is not the most efficient way to eliminate your debt. And one of the reasons it is not the most efficient is that it ignores the interest rate being paid on each account and focuses only on the size of the balance. However, this method does work well for people who need to see a faster victory in order to stay motivated and continue to plan. Paying off that smaller balance gives them that fast victory. Now, the second method is commonly known as the avalanche method. And with this method, you list all of your debt in order of the highest interest first and the lowest interest last. Again, you free up as much extra cash as possible, just like in the first example. But with this method, you pay off the highest interest debt first and work your way down to the lowest interest debt, applying the total amounts to each succeeding debt until all debts are paid. This method is more efficient because it saves you more money in interest payment, but it may take longer to see that first victory. Now, every situation is different and every person is different. If you are the kind of person who needs to see that early victory, then by all means use the snowball method. If it's going to help you stick with the plan until the end, then there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. However, if you are disciplined enough and you want to save as much money on interest as possible and pay off all of your debt in the shortest time possible, then you should probably use the avalanche method. I have to be honest with you though and tell you that in most cases, it doesn't make that big a difference which method you use. Yes, the avalanche method will save you a little more in interest and it will pay the debt off slightly faster, but it is not a big enough difference to stress over. I prefer the avalanche method because I want to save as much money and time as possible. The best method for you is the one that you can commit to and stick with until the end. If you have several small debts that you can pay off fairly quickly, there's nothing wrong with tackling those debts first and then applying the cumulative amount to either the snowball or the avalanche method. If you have one of your debts that has a much higher interest rate and a fairly high balance compared to your other debts, then you may want to tackle that one first. The point is to develop a plan that works for you. One other thing to consider is that if you are looking to improve your credit score as you work through this debt elimination process and you want to improve your credit score as possible, and you have several credit cards that are above the 30% utilization, you may want to get those below that threshold first and then start your snowball or avalanche process. Now let's look at an example of each of these two methods, and then I will explain a third method that primarily focuses on credit card debt only. Okay, before we get into actual examples of a debt snowball and a debt avalanche plan for debt elimination or debt reduction, I want to tell you a little bit about this neat free download that I found. It's Vertex 42. That's Vertex 42 is the name of it. It's a debt reduction calculator. And you can find it at www.vertex, that's VERTEX 42.com, or you can simply do as I did and just do a Google search for debt reduction calculator, and you should find this in the list. But this one has some pretty neat features. You can actually put in the date that you want to start your plan, the balance date that you want to start, and for purposes of this example, I've already entered some data here that I'll walk through. We've got credit card number 1 that has a balance of $4,400. That card has an interest rate of 19%. The current minimum monthly payment is $88. Now this column over here, this custom column, I'll talk a little bit about that more later. It allows you to order the payments. You can change these numbers, and I have the opportunity to select a custom instead of a snowball or avalanche, and it will pay the debts off in whatever order you have them selected in for the custom. And you can do it from the highest to the lowest or from the lowest to the highest. So that's another neat feature also. So we've got card number 1 with this balance and rate of payment and the minimum payment amount. We've got an auto loan that has a balance of $18,000, an interest rate of 3.9, and a monthly payment of $540.82. We've also got a second auto loan that has a balance of $23,000, and the rate on that loan is 3.2%, and it has a payment of $622.24. We have credit card number 2 that has a $9,000 balance and a 15.5% interest rate and a minimum payment of $180. And just for kicks, I threw in one student loan with a balance of $4,900 and an interest rate of 4%. And typically with a lot of student loans, you see a very low payment because a lot of people like that and have trouble paying student loans. But as you will see as we go through this example, this low payment amount is not really a good thing. But that's what we have to start with. That gives us a total debt balance of $59,300, and we're currently paying in this example a total of $1,456.06 per month. Now if you scroll down the page, you'll see that same total amount listed here, and you can see out to the side for this example and no snowball. That's because I have that selected here for no snowball and no avalanche. I want you to see what the interest payment will be and what the time table will look like if you just continue to make payments as they're listed here. So to begin with, we have no snowball, no avalanche, no payment plan whatsoever, except what we're already making, the payments we're already making on these debts. And here you can see the debt payoff of each one if you have no snowball applied. You can see the first one will be paid off in 2028, 2023 for the 2 auto loans, 2026 for the second credit card, and 2046, which is a total of 319 payments for that student loan debt that was only $4,900. But remember, we were only paying $25 a month. So let's look at the totals. The total interest without making any snowball or any kind of debt freedom payments, your total interest paid in the as-is scenario is $15,331.58. And you won't be debt free in this example until the year 2046. And that's actually when the student loan will be paid off. Okay? So now, in this section that shows the snowball, you can actually click on that and then you'll see a drop down arrow. So let's check off snowball, and in order to change the amount that you're paying each month, it won't let you put in an amount here where it says initial snowball. The way you have to do it, let's say we've scraped together from our monthly budget an extra $100 that we can apply toward our debt. So here we're going to go in and change the monthly payment total from $1456.06 to $1556.06. We hit enter, and now you see it has added a snowball amount of $100 per month. So let's see what the effect of that is. Well, you may have seen this actually change as I typed it in, but you can see the debt payoff has changed quite a bit. Instead of 2046, everything is paid off by 2023. If we go down to the total interest paid, remember it was $15,000 and some change. Now the interest paid with the snowball method is only $8,080.26, and you're debt free by November of 2023. So that's the snowball method. So then if you want to look at the avalanche method, you just click in this box again, go to your drop down arrow, select avalanche. You're still applying the same $100 a month. But you can see you save a little bit more in interest. Instead of a little over $8,000, now you're down to $7,833. You're still paid off by November 2023. So that's a pretty significant difference from no snowball to a snowball and an avalanche approach. With the regular snowball approach, your interest, I should say, is cut in half almost. And with the avalanche method, the amount of interest paid is reduced even more. And the total payoff time from no avalanche to either the snowball method or the avalanche method is cut by 23 years, cut in half, from 2046 in our original example down to 2023 in this avalanche method. The other neat thing that you can do with this free download, it also gives you a payment schedule, which is here in the lower lower left hand corner. You see a payment schedule tab. If you click on that, it shows you the amount of your snowball amount, the extra payment that you're making per month, the amount of that, and then it shows you when each debt will be paid off and how the debt shifts, how the payment shifts from one debt to another. and you can see when everything is completely paid off. So that's a neat feature as well. So you can play around with the amount. You can set your start date here. Just remember, in order to change the amount, to get this snowball amount to show up, look at what the total payment amount is and then add to it whatever amount you have systematically decided that you can add to your monthly payments, and then add that to it, and it will show you what the snowball amount is, whether it's $50, $100, $200, whatever you can afford is going to make a difference. Let's just look at a smaller example. So instead of $15.56 a month, we're only going to do a $50 snowball. So let's say you can only come up with $50 more a month. So instead of $14.56.06 a month, you would be paying $15.06.06 per month, and that should be $50. It is, and you can see that you pay a little more in interest than in the initial avalanche method. Now this is the avalanche, not the snowball. I'll go back to the snowball in a moment. But even only paying $50 a month, you pay the debt off a lot faster. And with the $100 additional payment, it was paid off in 2023. With the $50 method, it's paid off in 2024. That's the avalanche method. Let's look at the snowball once again with the $50 extra payment. A little bit higher interest, pretty much the same payoff period. So let's look at the payment schedule, and you can see the same thing reflected here. Paid off in January of 2024. So this is a real neat debt freedom, debt reduction calculator, and you can get this online and just download it. You may have to, if you don't have a Microsoft password already, you may have to create an account. But if you have Microsoft Office on your computer, you should already be set up and ready to go. So I would definitely recommend trying this free download, this debt reduction calculator. I think it's pretty neat. Gives you pretty good flexibility on paying off your debt and seeing what it will look like and how long it will take to pay the debt off. So give that a look and give it a try. If you think it's worth it, I think you will find it very helpful. And like I say, it has a lot of flexibility. The custom column, again, is for if you want to specifically order the payments like we were talking about earlier. If you had one card that you wanted to focus on first, for instance, in this case, if you wanted to focus on card number 1 first, or excuse me, card number 2 first, you would simply put a number 1 by this and choose, down here you would choose custom lowest first. And the lowest is not referring to the lowest balance, it's referring to the lowest number you have listed in the custom column. If you choose highest, in this example, it would start with number 5 instead of number 1. But you can put these in your debt in any order of payoff that you would like. You can play around with it and see how it works in different orders, how much interest you would save by doing it different ways, what the different payoff times would be. So I like this software, and for free you can't beat it. Okay, so I also promised you a modification of the debt snowball or debt avalanche plan that was strictly for credit cards that'll help you pay those cards off faster as well. It's a pretty simple plan, and like I say, it's just a modification of either the debt snowball or the debt avalanche plan. It works equally well with either one. And it basically goes like this. Let's say, for instance, you started out with 5 different credit cards and you were using one of the debt freedom plans and you were paying down your debt. Once that remaining balance is equal to what you're paying on your current payments times either 12 or 18, and the reason I say 12 or 18 is because the plan here is once your debt is low enough, you transfer the remaining debt to an interest-free credit card. So if you had 5 credit cards that you were paying in your debt freedom plan systematically, and you were paying $300 a month, and you had paid off the first 2 credit cards, leaving 3 remaining credit cards with a total balance on those 3 cards of $3,600, then 300 times 12 is $3,600. So you could then transfer that $3,600 balance on the 3 cards to one introductory rate card that has an introductory rate of 0%, and you could pay the remaining balance off in 12 months with no additional interest payments. Just something to consider. So that's an example of one debt freedom plan, and you can see from that example how much time and money you can save by developing a debt freedom plan. Again, I like the free download from Vertex. And you can get that on your computer and use it as you see fit. You can also, with that particular spreadsheet, you have the ability to add sales, you can add your mortgage, you can add other debt. It's just a real neat software, and like I say, for free, I don't think you can beat it. I am also going to do a separate video for student loans, because if you have multiple student loans, the way they get packaged in different loan packages, it makes it difficult sometimes to figure out what's the best method to pay off the student loans that will get rid of the debt the fastest and save you the most interest. The interest rate on student loans are usually not very high, but what gets people into trouble with student loans is, first of all, the deferment period. Some loans, while they're in deferment, are actually accruing interest. And then they set up these payment schedules for you with very attractive, in some cases, low payment schedule. And so you set out on that path and it looks like you can never get off of it. So I'll do a separate video that will show you how to take advantage of the student loan package program and how you can best pay off that student loan debt a whole lot faster. So I know you can't wait to see that if you have student loans. So that wraps up this video for debt elimination, or debt freedom as I call it. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so by clicking the subscribe button down below. And until next time, behave well.